Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Kyle from InvestorShare. It's been a while since I've done a YouTube video, but I'm going to start doing them again. I plan on doing them full time going forward and providing you guys as much value as I possibly can to help you make your own decisions with your trades, your investments, and all that fun stuff. I'm going to go into Ethereum today because I believe that Ethereum is going to be ready for a big move very soon, hopefully to the upside, but we'll be able to predict which of the two is likely going to occur based on one or two events. And I'll show you what I mean very shortly. I know that might sound complicated for some of you, but it's pretty straightforward. It's just waiting for price to cross one line or the other, and that will be a deciding factor whether Ethereum is going to drop dramatically or pump dramatically. So let's get into it. So first, I want to show you a chart that shows you the strength of Ethereum against Bitcoin. So this is basically Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart, if you think of it that way. So when you see a green candle, that basically means that Ethereum has performed better percentage-wise than Bitcoin during that moment. And the opposite is true for the red candle. So if you see a red candle, it basically just means that Bitcoin outperformed Ethereum percentage-wise during that moment. And if we look here, a lot of traders will see this as a giant double top. They'll freak out and they'll prepare for switching from Ethereum to Bitcoin. That way, they're protecting their capital from the imperformance of Ethereum and putting it into a more performing asset like Bitcoin. So that may look bearish or scary to some of you. However, just know that just because Bitcoin is outperforming the asset doesn't mean that Ethereum itself isn't going up as well. It just means that Bitcoin could be doing better than Ethereum during that moment. So what we can prepare for is one of two things. Either A, Ethereum losing the support level and going to the downside, and that would mean Bitcoin would outperform Ethereum during that moment. What confluence you could see with this is the apex point of this structure, meaning the resistance where it meets the support. If we were to take from today's candle to that moment, it's in about roughly 150 days. And for those of you who don't already know, what's happening about 150 days from now is the Bitcoin halving countdown, like the Bitcoin halving event. Now this fluctuates from once in a while from like about a 10-day ratio based on the network difficulty and how hard it is for it to create block rewards for Bitcoin. But it is roughly around like 155 days from now where we're going to see a halving event where the supply of Bitcoin is going to be cut in half. So it creates a deflationary event and it increases the valuation of Bitcoin as a result because the rewards are cut in half, so there's less sell pressure coming from the miners. There's a whole bunch of reasons why it's bullish. I'm not going to go into that for about half an hour with you. But now, the other thing that could happen is instead we could end up breaking this prior to the halving event, which is actually more likely because in the crypto space, everyone's impatient. People are buying like crazy. It's super volatile. So it's more likely to break this structure prior to hitting the apex point of this moment here. This would actually mean we'd have to have a significantly low amount of volume around this area unless they're performing with each other almost perfectly in correlation, which is not very common with Ethereum and Bitcoin. Well, it's common, but not in the aspect where you'd see it coil up like this. Anyways, so if this breaks to the upside, you'll see percentage-wise Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin. So you can prepare for that with this chart. I'll have the link down below. And if you see this break and you see it act as support, where we come out, see it bounce and create a higher high, then you know that there's a trend on the Ethereum side of the fence and that Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin. And this would likely spark an altcoin season because of the amount of liquidity pools that require Ethereum. And increase the valuation of those liquidity pools as a result, and it makes it easier to pump those assets. That's a whole other lesson there, but basically, this breaking means good for altcoins, all right? But there's one thing you also got to look at on the left-hand side here. The last time we were in this area, when we double topped with the exact same former structure, we didn't have as much time as we did over here. So in my opinion, it's more likely to break to the upside. But the last time we were here and we created the same type of structure, we broke to the downside, meaning Bitcoin started to outperform Ethereum. Now let's go to the less confusing stuff and go to the actual price action of Ethereum. So this is the hourly chart, but I want to zoom out really quick on the daily first. So right now, We undo that move. We have Ethereum coiling inside of a rising wedge structure. Now, these are bullish while they're active. They are normally bearish when they break, meaning they are more likely to break to the downside. However, in this case scenario, it's going to be likely very different because we have the spot ETFs coming out. We have the Bitcoin spot ETFs coming out and the Ethereum spot ETFs coming out. So the amount of buying pressure from like BlackRock alone, where they have, $66 trillion in their management, and there's only $422 trillion in the world, meaning they own like close to 16% of all the money on the planet. So when you get an investor like that creating their own spot ETFs and they're legally required to own Ethereum and Bitcoin in order to even sell it to their clients, then inevitably that's going to be bullish. But anyways, short term, what we want to look for is price action to break above this resistance, likely see 2513 act as resistance and push us back down to retest the structure, this uptrending level of support here, or resistance here, to act as support. And once we create that higher high, that's a really big buy signal, and the amount of volume that will come into the market during that moment will be astronomical. And the next target you would want to look out for when this event occurs, you got time, but just know that sometimes things will happen in a flash. But anyways, when this event occurs, that's like an ultimate buy signal. And for a trader like myself, if I saw something like this, I would enter at the higher high and put my stop loss below here, so I'm only risking to lose whatever budget I have for that trade. And I would target this liquidity zone right here around 3,180 is where it starts. So when we get to that area, I would prepare for some resistance, some exhaustion in the market, and we might even come back down to retest this level after we get to this point. And it'll look like a giant crash. Everyone will talk about doom and gloom, but honestly, it's normal in the crypto space. But if you know where these targets are, you can prepare to undercut the masses and get out before they do and protect your capital and get yourself back in at another good price. Because like if you look at the historically with Ethereum here as well, even though this is a good liquidity zone, we've also, every time we test this level, we had a big drop, like significant drop, right? So we just got to pay a lot of attention to it when we get there again and see if history is going to repeat itself. You can use tools like the order books to actually see if people are selling at this level, and then you can see where they're selling, and you're just like, okay, I'll just sell a little bit before you to guarantee that I'm getting out before you. Anyways, so that's the bullish scenario. And I wanted to go over the bear scenario, that way everyone's prepared for the worst and best case scenario. Now, here's the bearish scenario. This is the daily time frame right here. And since we met this as resistance 3 times already, and we're about to meet it as resistance again, we have this uptrending momentum here, and we almost failed it recently. And it was kind of a pullback from Bitcoin's price action going down. People were taking profits, and it affected the Ethereum liquidity and a lot of other assets, and they all dropped along with it. But anyways, we're still having honoring that support, and we can go straight up from here for all we know. But what we can do to micro-analyze where this is likely going to go is we can watch the price action on like the hourly time frame, for example, and see if it's going to honor this as support. And we can see right now that it's trying to get back up. We had price action get down below. We double bottomed, which is a form of a reversal pattern. Similar to what we saw with this chart, it's the opposite. Double tops tell you that things are more likely to go down, and double bottoms tell you that things are more likely to reverse and go up. And if we look at the short-term time frame, we can see that Ethereum came back up from the double bottom structure, and we are seeing this daily uptrending momentum that I just shown you. Now, if we zoom out again, this dotted line here is the same dotted line that we're looking at on the hourly. So I'm going to zoom back in here. This is the same exact line right here. And what we want to wait for a potential long opportunity is for price action to get above this downtrending resistance, super short term, and still honor this as support. So we want to have price action come up and create the higher high, and you jump in during that moment, and you put your stop loss below the most recent swing low, and you target, in this case scenario, you would want to look for the previous value area low right here. This is an area where there's a lot of interest. You see how there's a lot of sideways trading? So this is going to act as a strong level of resistance when we're approaching it from below. But if we were approaching it from above here, it would act as strong support. But we have to look at it in the more bearish outlook, meaning that this is likely going to act as strong resistance. But if we get it back above here, where this red line is, and right above this downtrending resistance, then things are going to look bullish again for Ethereum on the short term. And that's going to be reflected on the daily time frame as this just being a wick and a strong bounce off the daily uptrending support. And we're likely going to continue this rally. And if we continue, I'll look for this range is a significant range. Think of this as like, well, I guess you might not understand it, but there's a range with Bitcoin that was between around 28,000 and 31,000. This is like the equivalent for Ethereum. If we get above this, we would see a high, a crazy pump, just like what we saw with Bitcoin. And the ceiling for this pump is right about here. This is the daily resistance that we were looking at in that rising wedge structure. And it's around $2,300. And when we hit this, and if we happen to break this daily momentum in confluence with this, then we're likely going to see a fast correction and build more of a macro structure in this area. And that structure is going to define whether we're going to have that break to the upside for that big move I was talking about to around 3,300, or a break to the downside and start targeting the support level of the rising wedge. Now, I don't think even if we do get rejected at this level and we break to the downside with whatever macro structure we build in this area, I think that we're not likely going to reach all the way to the bottom of the support level. Because if we zoom out again, we can see that that level right now, even though it's uptrending, it's today's date, it's at around 16,007. And around the time where we meet that zone, if we keep this momentum on that date, it's going to be around, about the same, only a few dollars short. It's going to be around like 1,616. I always thinking like thousands because I'm always talking about Bitcoin. I'm never talking about Ethereum. But anyways, we got to get past this significant range. We see how it acted as strong resistance here, and it was a part of this liquidity zone here. So we just got to watch out for this acting as resistance again along the way up. And if we end up breaking past this and we have it act as support, then we're likely going to meet this resistance, and then we'll see what happens here. If we lose that daily momentum, then prepare for the worst. We could come down, I'm thinking, no lower than 1,936, and then we'll have a strong bounce from there. That's the lowest I'm expecting for it to ever go. After all the news that's coming out and the amount of money that's coming into crypto right now, it's just not really realistic to see it come down and revisit these the low 1,600 area again. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I got for you guys. If you have any questions about this, you can reach out to me in the Discord, and we'll talk about how we can take profits when the time comes, what we should be looking for, what should we look out for. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you are thinking about learning how to trade, you can try it out for $1. We have a huge promotion going on for this month. The code is learn to earn. So you can go down in the description below, get the link, and you can use the code there and join InvestorShare if you'd like. And all the charts that I have displayed to you inside this video are also down below as well. That can help you out. So you can see my chart, see how I'm analyzing it. You can even see me trading live and where I'm putting my long and short positions. So maybe you can just take a look and see how I'm doing stuff, so you can learn that way as well. But yeah, jump into the Discord as well. The link for that is down below, and I can talk to you guys and walk you through any questions that you might have. All right, guys, have yourself an amazing day, and thanks for watching.